This video is about the effect on businesses of changes in interest rates. I would like you to watch this and make notes on this video before our next lesson, which is lesson 2 on Monday. Okay, so what are interest rates? Well, you can see here in the middle, you've got the Bank of Hutchins, and Caitlin here has £10,000, which she would like to save. It's in her interest to save the money at the bank instead of keeping it at home in case she loses the money, or there's a fire, or if there is an accident that results in her damaging the money. So it makes a lot of sense for her to save it at the bank. Also, the bank will reward her for saving the money at the bank by giving her a 5% interest. The interest payment is kind of a thank you from the bank to Caitlin for saving money at the bank. Now, the reason why the bank wants people or requires people to save money with them is so they can have money which they can loan out to people that seek money. So you can see here Caleb, he would like to borrow £10,000 in order to set up a business. So the Bank of Hutchins has £10,000 from Caitlin because she is saving £10,000 with the bank, and then the bank will loan this £10,000 to Caleb. However, the bank will charge Caleb a 10% interest as a cost of borrowing £10,000. So basically, the bank, which is a profit-making organisation, needs to make a profit. So their profit is the difference between the cost of borrowing and the reward for saving. So Caitlin has been rewarded with a 5% interest. Caleb has been charged with 10% interest. So the difference between the two, which is 5%, therefore becomes the bank's profit. Okay, therefore, the definition of interest rates is the cost of borrowing and the reward for saving. That is the definition. If you get a 2-mark question in the exam, then you'll get 1 mark for writing the cost of borrowing and a 2nd mark for writing the reward for saving. So that will get you 2 marks in the exam. Okay, so the next objective, we need to understand how the changes in interest rates impact businesses. Well, banks are entitled to change interest rates. Interest rates can either increase or decrease. So if you get a question about a change in interest rates, please consider the fact that they can increase and decrease. Right, let's have a look at this flow diagram. Here we have a scenario where the interest rates increase. So if we have a look at this flow here, you can see the option is that this is the scenario for consumers who already have a loan. Consumers that already have a loan with the bank, they would have to pay more interest because interest rates increase. Therefore, consumers will have less disposable income to spend. They will have less disposable income simply because they are paying more interest. Therefore, consumers will demand less products because they have less disposable income. However, this does depend. Have a look at what's here in purple. We've got a nice purple evaluation point here. This does depend on whether the product is a luxury or necessity good, as consumers will still demand necessity products. So what we're saying here, if consumers' income does go down because they are paying more interest, they do have less disposable income, the demand for necessity products such as basic foodstuffs and pharmaceutical prescriptions, medicines, etc., the demand will still be there. However, if the product is a luxury product, such as a sports car or a ticket to New York, then the demand for the luxury products will go down if people have less disposable income. As a result of this, the demand for firms' products decreases, therefore sales will decrease. Subsequently, the business will receive less revenue, and as a result, profit will decrease. And as you can see by the unhappy face there, this is not good for businesses. Okay, let's scroll back up and look at another scenario now. Let's think about consumers who don't already have a loan with the bank but may decide to save more because of the higher rate of interest. So if interest rates go up, consumers may decide to take advantage of the fact that interest rates have gone up and then may save more money with the bank. As a result of this, there's the opportunity cost argument. Consumers can either spend their money or they can save their money. So if they're going to take advantage of the increase in interest rates, consumers will spend less and demand less products from firms. Now we can see we've joined the original chain in the flow diagram. Therefore, consumers will demand less products. Again, this depends on whether the product is a luxury or a necessity. Demand for firms' products decreases. Therefore, sales decrease. As a result, the business receives less revenue and subsequently profit will decrease. Again, this is not good for the business. Right, now let's have a look at the final bit of the flow diagram. Let's look at it from the consideration, the viewpoint of the firm. So let's look at the scenario that firms already have a loan. If interest rates go up, firms that already have a loan with the bank would have to pay more interest. This decreases the costs for the firm and potentially reduces the level of profit. Clearly, this is not good. However, the firm may decide to increase the selling price to cover the cost of the additional interest. So they might pass on the cost of the additional interest to the consumer. Right, now we've got a great evaluation point here. This is where we can look at the EOIS argument, the EOIS. Everyone is super. If you look down here, this is the way to remember that everyone is super. So what we mean by this, the price elasticity of the product applies to determine whether an increase in the selling price would lead to an increase or decrease in revenue. So if the product is elastic, then an increase in the selling price would lead to a decrease in total revenue. Obviously, that is not good for the business. So remember that if the product is elastic, so for elastic, if the price goes up, the opposite happens to total revenue. Hence, everyone there, E for elastic and the O for one is the opposite. However, if the product is inelastic, then an increase in the price would lead to an increase in total revenue. So if the product is inelastic, if it has a price elasticity of demand that is inelastic, if the price increases, then the total revenue will also increase. And this is because the product is inelastic. There are few substitutes, or another factor or characteristic of an inelastic product is that the product may be a necessity or maybe a small percentage of a household's income. So if the price goes up, demand does not change, demand is not that responsive, therefore the business will increase their total revenue as a result. And obviously that is good for the firm. So your task, what I would like you to do before next lesson, is to complete a flow diagram similar to the one that we've just looked at in this video, but now I want you to produce it for different scenarios that might occur if there is a decrease in interest rates. You must be prepared to show me this work at the start of our next lesson, which is on Monday, lesson 2.